Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, espes nostra salve, patricamus.
Upon graduation from college with my math degree, I started teaching in a Catholic high school, first in Florida, teaching math, computer science, and also working in a campus ministry. I really enjoyed that personal work with the students, really helping them understand the concept, but also challenged me to understand, because you can't give what you don't have. There are a lot of things as Catholics that we do, and I am continually learning why we do a lot of what we do. I grew up in New Jersey, and we would routinely go into New York City. And one of the most formative moments in my life when I was a kid, about 8 or so, and I was with my dad in New York's St. Patrick's Cathedral. And I just remember walking in and looking up at the arches and the statues. And as we're crossing through the church, and we cross the center aisle, my dad taught me to genuflect, to kneel down, to recognize the presence of God in the Eucharist, in the tabernacle. And that has stuck with me. That initial instruction in piety and devotion, and it's so simple. I was baptized and I received my first communion, but then we stopped practicing our faith. It wasn't until high school when I noticed one of my teachers was particularly joyful, and he particularly listened to me when I was talking about struggles with my parents or struggles in classes or whatever. He was there to listen. And eventually I learned that he was Catholic, and I said, wow, I'm Catholic, sort of. And so that began the journey of asking questions how I might rediscover my faith. I noticed when we prayed at Mass for vocations to the priesthood, something went back in my mind, just went off. And I said, no. So because I had a clear plan. I'm gonna go to college, and I'm gonna go to medical school, and I'm gonna go be a doctor, and that's gonna be my plan. And I just kind of ignored a little bit until that time in college when I heard other friends, other men, asking similar questions. I said, well, maybe I'm not so weird in this way. And through those relationships, through that courage to talk with these men and then talk with priests, I began to really explore what religious life, what priestly life for me might look like. It was through meeting monks, members of that institute, members of the community, that proposed to me, wow, maybe this could be what I am seeking, what I desire. It was not my choice to come to Saint Vincent Seminary. I expressed desire to attend a local seminary run by Archdiocese and stay at home, and the abbot instructed that I was going to go to Saint Vincent Seminary. And I was not excited. And I expressed that. He heard it, and I showed up at Saint Vincent in fall of 2022. I mean, I can laugh now because in one sense, this is not where I would have expected myself to be. And God worked with me to show me that this is where I'm meant to be. Primarily, my job right now is being a full-time student in the seminary and pursuing ordination to the priesthood. I also assist in the vocations office, so helping with men who are asking that question, am I called to monastic life? Am I called to life at St. Vincent? How do I grow in prayer? All of those kind of fall under the umbrella of vocations. Religious orders are all common in that they have some form of common life. I mentioned how I wanted a stronger community life. I found a great desire for common life. And then what was distinctive about the monastic life is that monks make a vow of stability. I want to find a place, make roots, settle down. And then I learned about monastic stability. And I said, that's exactly what I've been asking for. I didn't know that was a thing in the church. And so when I heard that, again, just kind of puzzle pieces sort of to fit. This is where I was made for. One of the things that community life does for me is it makes me realize all of the virtues I lack. So constantly bumping up against members of the community, brothers, I realized my impatience. I realized my pride. I realized I could go down the whole list of sins and then also just character flaws or differences in personality, maybe not even flaws, but just differences, ways grade against one another. And it is really challenging to accept those are really features of myself and to trust that God is working through those flaws, that He has begun this process of redeeming, of glorifying me, of making me holier. As monks, part of our vocation within the church is towards that focus on contemplative prayer. I hope a man who's thinking about monastic life or is asking this question is already having a daily prayer life. So that would be the second part. Talk to persons and talk to God daily. Spend time with Him in Scripture, asking, what are you trying to tell me?